Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Life Chronicles and Deep Dives podcast. I'm with Coach Cornelia, all the way in Romania.
Hello, everybody.
And my
Welcome
name
back.
is Coach Mika Ranjit, and I am in the United States. So we got a huge difference across the globe. I mean, it's great. And I know I haven't said that before. Today's topic is going to be on ghosts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like everybody sees these movies. There's, like Ghostbusters. There's always horror movies. Everybody's always interested in the haunted house, like scary movies, the hay rides. Halloween's real big in the United States. So there's always this attraction to, like, otherworldly, transhuman, energetic, ghostly beings, right?
Yeah.
So I've had a few experiences. In fact, in this house that I'm living in right now, it's a brand new house that I've had quite a few experiences with some sort of energy. I'm not entirely sure what it is. My cat, I have a Bengal cat, and he likes to run around. And sometimes in the middle of the night, he'll leave the bedroom and he'll go into the laundry room. Now, that laundry room, it's very old. So, like, the rest of the house has been revamped, remodeled, and updated. The laundry room is the only room where it hasn't been. There's no updates to the laundry room. The person that used to own this house had like 15 or 17 cats. I mean, depends on which neighbor I'm talking to. The number always changes, and it always seems to get bigger. So 15, 17, the next neighbor I talk to is gonna be like, that guy had like 50 cats. But he had a lot of cats. And sometimes at night, Leo will go into that laundry room and he'll be meowing, and he does like this meow, and it's like, hello, and he's just doing this. Usually when he does that, it's because me or my fiance, we've left the house, or my roommate has gone into the bathroom without saying hello to Leo, and he's calling to somebody. He's calling to you.
Oh, wow.
Right? So if I apply that to the laundry room, he's calling to somebody. Now, what happens is I'll hear him, and he mainly does that call. If we leave, the roommate goes into another room, or the roommate leaves, or he's in the laundry room by himself. We could be all in bed, and I'll hear him in the middle of the night. And cats do that. They call, right? But it's always in the same spot. So I go, and he's in the laundry room. He's usually laying down, looking up at the same spot. And I say, hey, what's up? And I say, are you and the neighbors tell me the guy's name was Gramps. I say, what's up, Leo? Are you talking to Gramps? And then as soon as that happens, my hairs stand up on my arms, and like all the way up my arms. My legs, like, I mean, we're talking like if you were standing next to like a static electricity ball, like up, right? I feel the tingle down my spine, across my shoulders, all the way down my back. And there's some energy there, right? I say, oh, hey, how you doing, Gramps? I start talking to this like entity, this energy. And, he's always, it seems like he's always taking care of Leo. Oh, the last time it happened, it was so strong that my beard hairs, like my face, got goosebumps because of it. Like my beard was like, and I was like, wow, very strong energy. And so it seems to be getting stronger. But it's almost as if Leo's got a friend throughout the day. right? Because like me and Kyle, we go to work. My roommate gets home a little bit earlier than us. But for a Bengal cat who, while we're at home, tends to get into trouble, knock things over, plays around and gets hyper energetic, while we're gone, he doesn't do that. He's all like he's very reserved. Nothing is ever out of place. And usually when we come home, he's in the laundry room and then he comes to the door and he's waiting if he's not taking a nap somewhere else. So it's
Mm-hmm.
quite interesting to see that.
Yeah, very interesting. The cats have a special power to feel energies, as far as I know. So it's very interesting. And do you feel, are you scared of that energy or just,
No,
I mean, you just feel if it's friendly or not, or it's neutral or whatever.
so I I I have a feeling that the guy who lived here, because he had all these cats, um, like his energy still in the house, right? Remember, we talked about in a previous podcast that like energy, it remains energy, whether or not like the body is alive or dead. So the soul, I mean, if it's trapped in the house, at least now he's got something that he cares about, like cats, right? He used to have,
Mhm.
he had 1,000 cats in the house, right? The numbers always he had 1,000 cats. And so for him to have Leo in the house, it's something comforting, familiar for him to interact with. Um,
Mhm.
and so I think that's what's drawing him out. Because before we had Leo, I didn't never feel that energy.
Mhm. Wow.
Yeah. So there was no interaction with any like laundry room energy entity. Remember, like I said, like the laundry room's got almost the entire thing. I think one wall's been painted, but the there's some areas that have the original wallpaper from like
Mm.
1988 when they built the house.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's quite crazy.
Yeah, I never had any experiences, but I remember some friends of ours they had a house in Denmark, and they were saying that it's full of ghosts. And I don't know what to say that the ghosts are. It might be just they are trapped here, or maybe they just don't want to leave, or maybe your ghost came back when he saw that you have a cat, and he's okay, I'm going back home and I have a cat now.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point because like a ghost could be trapped here, right? Maybe they're not released to the next, realm or whatever.
Mm.
If you're Christian, heaven, hell, right? They don't get to go that, they're stuck in limbo. They could
Mm-hmm.
be voluntarily staying here.
Yeah.
Um, it could be related to like sensory. Maybe all ghosts, all people that pass still their energy still exists. It's just that it only is activated at certain points. They only want to be known at certain points, right? So, for instance, this guy, Gramps, I don't know his real name. I don't ever feel him or interact with that energy except for the times that Leo's in that room.
So it's only through Leo.
Yeah. I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
he sits there and he plays and he seems like he's having a good time and he's always looking up and just like waiting, like and doing this and doing that. And so like I try to, you never know. Until you can disprove it, you can't say it doesn't exist. So I sit there, I
Yeah.
talk to Gramps, I say, hey, how's it going? I hope you're having fun with Leo. I'd appreciate it if you keep him out of trouble during the day. And for some reason, my cat will knock over any number of things while we're at home.
Mm.
But every time we leave the house, nothing is ever out of place when we come back.
Well, then I should call for a ghost in our house, because my dogs are very nice when we are at home, but when we leave, they get crazy and everything is ruined. So
Yeah.
if anyone hears me, please come in.
And
Take
so,
care of the
like,
dogs only.
how do we make a
Yeah.
determination between like a good ghost and a bad ghost, or like, like what's the determination, right? Because all the movies that we see, typically, I mean, every once in a while you see one where there's like a good ghost trying to help people like connect or something, but generally it's like a bad ghost or a bad demon or an entity that's like brought themselves into this environment. Uh, how do you make a determination on the intent of that ghost, that energy?
I think
Well,
it's with our sixth sense, maybe. I've always thought that what we feel inside, it's the truth, and we can. I really think that we can feel what they want. For example, if they have good intentions or not. And at the same time, if I remember well, because I'm a sucker for these documentaries with the ghosts, and I've been watching every show on. They do some things that might harm people, right? They scratch or whatever. They can do these kind of things, so you can see that they don't have good intentions at that moment.
mhm. Yeah, or they're breaking stuff and then or they're intentional. I mean, so like a lot of times, like a ghost will try to get your attention first, but how they do that, right? So like whether they're breaking stuff, moving things, whether you can just feel their presence. And in this house with Gramps, I mean, this isn't the first and only time I've had sensations where, like I've felt the presence of something
Mm-hmm.
else around me. There's nothing physical around me. Nobody else is with me, but it's not the first time I've felt that before, right? The intent, my thought is who you are underneath your mask. So, like we talk about in narcissists, they're always wearing like masks to be, like fit the person that they're talking to, right? But
Mm-hmm.
everybody has like a mask. Nobody is completely open 100% of the time. A
Yeah.
ghost energy would be completely open 100% of the time. So, like, if you're interacting with a good person ghost or good energy, right, they're less likely to be destructive, trying to get your attention in negative ways, scare you, right?
Mm-hmm.
They may open a door for you. They may Kaya said that she's had doors open here in the house, like okay, that's a good
Wow.
thing, right? Because her hands were full. The door opens, right? Um and it could have been like drafts or something, who knows, but it could be the ghost giving a helping hand, right? So like that's a indicator of positive energy versus a ghost that's like knocking stuff off the walls or
Yeah.
scratching or like dragging you down the hallway.
Yeah, I've seen. I don't know if you've watched. What's his name? Jack Osborne, maybe the son of. Do you know he has a show with ghosts?
I have not seen it.
Okay, it's great. It's a great show, really great. And he had a very bad the worst experience he had was at the farm, and they after they went there, they called someone who knew what it's about, and they discovered that it's a portal for demons and this kind of bad things. But how he was attracted there was through nice things. So they were the ghosts or whatever it was were acting very nice. They called him. He went there. He had that machine that you can. Uh, it translates what the ghost says.
Mhm.
Uh, and he went there in directly into that portal somehow, and he went blind.
Oh,
Yeah, it was crazy.
that's
No
not
medical
great.
explanation. Yeah. So they can also pretend that they're good and then do something bad.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, in some cases, they'd want to pretend that they're friendly to get in, right? Let's
Mhm.
say they're doing possession. Let's say they want to like take over like a body or do something like that. They would want to pretend because then you get the target host to reduce their defenses, right?
Mhm.
In another instance, they'd want to scare them to increase their fear level because by that creating that fear, you increase their power, right? So like I mean, you
Yeah.
got two different aspects of that. You brought a good point in, like portals to different worlds, right? So now a lot of religions have like, above and a below, right? They've got like a heaven and a hell. Um, to go to church and listen to a sermon and listen to the word of God. And I'm going to use Christianity here because it's probably the easiest one that I can relate to give this example. You're believing in that higher power. You're believing in God. You're believing in, angels and the stories of the Bible, which means that you also have to believe in the devil at the same time, hell, portals, and demons, which is why I think the Vatican has, like they do the exorcisms. I think they probably keep it a little bit more hush hush now than they used
Mm.
to. But I mean, even Hitler and the Nazis were looking into the occult. So,
For sure. They used it
yeah.
very so much.
So, like, for all of those things to be at play, and even ancient civilizations having, you know, like their version of demons and, guardians or angels, you can't have one without the other.
Want to say something in Lucifer's defense, and I'm always doing it. He used to be an angel, right? An archangel. So he has something good in him as well. We have to believe that one day that good that he has inside of him will come up and will stop the bad in the world. That's how I feel. And that's the idea, just a little bit of topic, that everyone has something good inside. If Lucifer used to be an archangel, that it doesn't change the structure of him, right?
Mhm.
So anyone has something good inside.
Sure. I mean, you've seen this in Star Wars, right? So they've done like Anakin Skywalker. He started out as this good innocent boy, got corrupted by power and evil, and then at the
Mm-hmm.
end of Return of the Jedi comes back to being a good individual. I mean, it's not off the table. I think that for that to happen, his evil would have to be we'd have to disincentivize his evil scheming, right? Because so far he's just gaining power. Whether he's bringing demons into the world or whether he's influencing people in a certain way. So you've never had any experience with ghosts, but have you ever felt something like you walk into like a room in an old house? I mean, your architecture over there is considerably older than it is here,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, especially in Romania. I mean, we're talking about the birthplace of what people call Dracula.
Mm, yeah. Uh, I am a very sensitive person to energy, so I can feel um any energy, any change of energy in any person or in any place. Sometimes it's a burden, sometimes it's a blessing. It can help you or not. My only experience was a very bad dream with a demon that was trying to do something to me. I don't know what he was trying to beat me up or something like this. And I remember I've been talking to someone and they said it's a demon from your grandmother. Someone sent the demon to your grandmother and he's trying to harm your family and whatever. And it was too much for me. So I decided to not think about it anymore. And regarding the ghosts in Romania, you will maybe not believe, but there are even more in Denmark. In
Oh.
Denmark, you can see people who put outside their house some signs where they say no ghosts allowed in
Mm-hmm.
here.
Mm-hmm.
So they are expressing their they are not willing to receive any ghost in their house.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have some friends in Denmark who work at night, and they said so many crazy stories about elevators. You know, when you go into an elevator, it goes a little bit down when you
Mm-hmm.
step in the elevator. So I remember one friend told me about going into an elevator and pressing the button to go down, and then the elevator stopped, the doors opened again, no one was there, but you could hear the or feel the going down of the elevator like a step.
Mm-hmm.
And then the doors closed again and they went down. He was wondering how did he die of scare, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many ghosts in Denmark. Also in Romania, in Romania you can say there's so many energies because we are very old country, like
Yeah.
archaic country. We're very old, yeah. So there's so many energies, and what you can feel sometimes at night, going for example with the car on the streets, you can feel the cemeteries, old cemeteries, and you can feel
Mm-hmm.
the energies there, old energy in Romania. We have ghosts. I mean, maybe we have, and I know there has been some shows done. We have a very old forest near one of the biggest cities in Romania, Cluj, and it's called Bacului Forest. And I know there's been so many interested people coming and sleeping in the forest at night and having very bad experiences. And the forest itself is very scary with very weird trees, weird forms, and you can hear some weird noises and so on. So it's I don't like that. I've been once, and you can you there was when I've been there, it's a road crossing the forest, and there was a very thick fog. You couldn't see anything, and it was like the time stopped. I didn't like it.
Okay. So very ominous and dense, kind of like
Mhm.
forest
Yeah.
landscape. Okay. So your guys' architecture, like I said, is way older than ours, which means like I mean it holds a lot of that energy. Like
Yeah.
I mean that ghost, we'll say ghost. Ghost is like a bad term for an inexplainable morphed energy of like the human soul, right? I mean it's like a short version of that. I haven't really done any research into why they said it was a ghost, why they say ghost rather than, like spirit energy. I mean, some people do say that spirit energy or like, soul energy. I mean, you can't really just necessarily tie soul to religion, um, because as we know, the energies, they exist no matter what. So, like, when I pass, my energy, like my life, my body will die, but the energy that I, held and retained, that will go someplace else, whether or not it gets
Mhm.
dispersed into the environment, right? Um, or stays as a ghost. And I don't, who knows if that's a choice? Who knows if like ghosts make that choice? Who knows if they just, sometimes they get trapped in a place. Who knows if
And some
it's a punishment?
some of them, yeah, a punishment as well, and some of them don't even know that they're dead.
Mm,
I've seen a
mhm,
documentary about it, and the guy who was connecting with the ghosts asked a little girl, "Do you know that you're dead? That you died?" And she said, "No, I'm not." So then it was. He said that it was the best choice to help her go into her family of energy, the energy family where she's coming from. Help her go there and whatever they know this techniques or something,
mhm,
and help her realize that she's dead and she needs to leave because she didn't even know.
mhm. Yeah, I mean that would be sad, disappointing, like to eventually realize that like, you've already passed, that your energy is just stuck here and that it
Mhm.
needs to dissipate out elsewhere. Um, as far as, and I think Hollywood and people kind of like play up, you know, um, like ghosts and stuff. And I wanted to get into another topic, like a little bit about ghosts, but it's a little bit different, but they go kind of go hand in hand. So people, I mean, across the globe for a long time have taken part in rituals. And I could say satanic rituals, but that ties it specifically to Christianity. Or, like they're basically just like sacrificial rituals where they're, instead of praying, like going to church and praying to God, they're going to, a fire or an altar and praying to like a demonic entity and or
Mhm.
negative energy. We'll say negative energy because demonic energy is something that I mean it's pretty universal, but it's still tied to Christian religious word usage. So rituals. Now, people have been taking part in rituals for the longest period of time, whether
We
it's
are we are defined by rituals since we are brought on this earth. So yes, everything
absolutely
is a ritual somehow. Yeah.
every class of human is said to take part in rituals, which is interesting. Elites, all the way down to like the low class, all participate, and not everybody. I'm not saying everybody, but like segments of people from all classes participate in rituals. What would be the purpose of that? To bring forth these entities, these energies. If we're specifically talking about bringing ghosts into the earthly realm,
Mm-hmm.
which I think it could be dangerous. I don't know if it's
It is.
necessarily the smartest thing all the time, right?
What I feel is that everything is energy, right? So each of us belongs to a group of energies somehow. I don't know, like you feel the other one, like I felt with you, that we are a part of the same energy somehow, you know.
Mhm.
um then you meet people that you don't understand anything about them. It's just something very different from you, right? So that's from another family of energy. That's how I feel. And talking about rituals, when we are baptized, it's when we go to this family of energy of Christianity, let's say in our case. In other people's case, it's a different energy, right?
Mhm.
And then what you talk about, these rituals, if you remember the very bloody rituals the Celtics had and many other pagan civilizations, they had these rituals where they didn't talk about God, they were talking about gods, like more gods. um and they were trying to bring that energy by sacrificing people, unfortunately.
Yeah,
And if you look in the Old Testament, in Christianity, in the Old Testament, it was the same. It was like we had the bloody God who wanted a lot of sacrifice. And there's been cases when they used to kill even the families they had to bring a sacrifice to God, to ask God something for something, right? So maybe I knew someone who used to do this kind of rituals to bring some energies. They were saying it's a good, like a white witch, you know?
Mhm.
But in my opinion, playing with this energy is not very good, because you never know what might happen.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Something could pretend to be good, and then you let your guard down, and then bam, then
Hmm.
it's like a negative energy, and then the whole world's ending. I mean, it's crazy to think that we have people still to this day that are interested in child sacrifice. I mean,
Mm,
there's a conspiracy theory about adrenochrome there, and
yeah,
child sacrifice, and child trafficking for that specific purpose. I mean, and uh, birthing farms specifically for
yeah,
breeding children for child sacrifice and adrenochrome. I mean, that's absolutely insane that's something that's still on the planet. But remember, if evil can exist, it's going to exist.
yeah.
I
And
think
it's
that's
our choice.
insane.
God gave us the choice. That's the greatest gift that God gave us, or this higher energy gave us. We have our own will, so we decide which way to go, and these people are taking this way. And for me, it's very weird that we don't take into mainstream the stories of these women who were giving birth to these kids. There are so many talking about it, and no one cares about them. Isn't it weird? I mean,
I mean, it's sad because
shouldn't
it
it?
doesn't affect their life.
Yeah.
I mean, and I mean, child trafficking. I mean, I absolutely despise that.
Mm,
I get very angry when I talk about these things, like,
yeah. Yeah.
um, because I want to stop it, right? And I don't necessarily know how because it's just so prevalent. It's so prevalent.
Yeah.
Like, and how to shut it down? Like, I mean, and we're kind of like veered away from ghosts, but I mean, like, if you look at the purpose of the child sacrifice, it's to bring in some sort of demonic entity or negative
Energy.
energy that's going to give somebody else like power on the global
Mm,
stage or in the political stage or in the business
yeah.
stage, or you know what I mean? They're taking revenge on somebody. I mean, it, it's it's not great. It's not good.
I mean, it's not a conspiracy theory, because there are so many women coming and talking about it, about this
Mhm.
underground world where the kids are grown for this specific purpose, and uh, no one in mainstream is talking about it. So it's like those women are not taking into consideration, not taking seriously somehow.
Mhm.
Why? Why not?
Uh, I mean, so like if we bring attention to it, then we have to acknowledge that we still have these practices, right? If we bring it, like you bring attention, like nobody really wants to talk about child sex trafficking. Nobody really wants to talk about, slaves still existing. Nobody really has these conversations because they're difficult conversations. We're veering away from having difficult conversations that don't affect us, but also the world stage has presented you, not you specifically, but like presented the viewer, right, with so many different things to distract them from
Mm-hmm.
real world things like
Yeah.
you got football, sports, you got to pay your taxes, you got to go to work, you got to do this, you got to make sure this is there, this box there, this bill is paid, and all this other stuff in order to do that. But then you're not actually paying attention to evil that is spreading and growing. These
Yeah.
people that are like using these children as vessels for ghosts, demonic energies,
Yeah.
sacrificing them for like adrenochrome, which then they gives them life blood, life power to live longer, or energy. Like, it's insane to think that all of these things still happen. But look, they have been happening. So why wouldn't they continue to happen? You just have to hide it better.
Yeah. I remembered about a girl in Denmark. She used to be a big influencer over there, and she used to live in Hollywood. And she used to be one of the girls, um, the girls who used to be paid to do some services. You understand what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And she had to try to look very young, always. And she talked about these rituals she used to take part of in different houses, and so it's something largely accepted in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And now, after a while, when she started to talk about it, she decided to tell everything, and after a while she just disappeared from social media. And I was thinking, why isn't she speaking about it anymore?
Exposure.
I
Like, I
know
mean,
I mean,
it's,
yeah, I know why, yeah.
I mean, they're
But
very quick to disappear people or discredit people or set them up when they've exposed these things. There's this place in California called Bohemian Grove that's got a lot of attention for these specific occult, rituals that are taking place there that very prominent figures go to. Now, I haven't done a whole bunch of research into this particular organization, but what do I know about human behavior? If I apply the fact that people that will do something wrong, if they can get away with it and it makes them feel good, they're going to do it.
mhm,
If it gets them,
sure.
if they have a gain and they can get away with it, I mean, the atrocities that people can do for these rituals, for power, to feel good, just to feel good, is insane. I mean, it's an absolutely scary underworld that nobody wants to talk about. It's almost like we've got several different layers. I mean, we've talked about the onions, the layers of society, but I mean, there's several different
Yeah.
layers of like the religious layer, the political layer, the entertainment layer, the occult layer. I mean, and there's so many different layers. And then you get into the underworlds and those
Mhm.
places. I mean, the absolute terrible things that people can do to each other in these underworlds is insane. And to say they don't
And what's
exist is absolutely false. If you're saying those things don't exist, it's basically because uh, you don't want to acknowledge they haven't touched your life. You haven't seen them, nor do you want to. You'd rather live in this la la land. What do they call it? Ignorance is bliss.
ignorance? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the blood is the best sacrifice to make. Like this girl was talking about this, like the girls, every month they have this period, and in those moments there's been the most money poured into them because they used the blood for those rituals. That's sick.
Hmm.
And if you think about it, everything is for power. And one day they will die, of course, like everybody does. And what's left? I mean, I don't understand the I feel that they live in a very unconscious level, thinking that only this is important in life, having power, having money, um, and being capable to do anything for it, right?
Hmm. I mean, there's this guy named John of God, and he had
Mm.
basically like
Yeah, I know.
you've heard of it, right? So
The
he'd do
healer,
like
I think.
weird surgical procedures to like remove
Mhm.
entities. I mean, he pretended to be this like leader of religious faith, and he has ties to very prominent people in Hollywood. Turns out he was
Yeah.
a pedophile, and he was, had like a baby farm factory, birthing,
Mm.
facility. Do we know about these kind of things? There was there's emails that were released on WikiLeaks that included names like Hillary Clinton, Marina Abramovich, and Podesta that had to do with spirit cooking rituals. I mean, and I'm like, what? What? So to not acknowledge that it, to say it doesn't exist is saying that you don't want it to exist without actually acknowledging that people do take part in these very interesting rituals for whatever purpose to bring whatever energies, ghosts, demons, gods, whatever they want to call them, they're bringing them into our world under the guise of, that a lot of times they're masking it. They'll say, "Oh, we're a good person. I'm a good person." Underneath,
Most of them.
just like John of God pretended to be this good person, but underneath, right, he was corrupted.
And if you think about, he's been invited to Oprah, I think, and she
Mhm.
swore for him. I mean, she said he's great.
Yeah, ties to
Yeah.
Oprah. Yeah, I mean, if but remember, I'm not accusing anybody of anything in this video, but what do we know? You interact with people that are like-minded. You don't hang out with people that are not like-minded, which if I mean, and we're gonna. I mean, we're kind of swinging away from like ghosts, but we can make the title of the podcast, like ghosts, occult rituals, right? I'm gonna go a little bit further. Jeffrey Epstein, right? And this is right. Birds of a feather flock together. You hang out with people that have like interests, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, you look at the people that are there that have been listed, right? There's a guy in Britain. What was his name? Seville. I don't remember what his name was, but there's a guy over in Britain that had a similar, thing, and they may have different purposes, but birds of a feather flock together. You put the occult and you make ties to people. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna start looking at those people. What it is downplayed because they want to keep it hidden. It has to stay hidden, or else it loses its. I mean, they will lose their following
Sure. And
of
if you
their
think
mass.
this, yeah, if you think about these rituals, they are usually discredited, right? If you think about someone who wants to make a ritual, you're gonna say it's a witch, it's something, it's a
Hmm.
person that you cannot trust in, and so on. But they are doing it,
Hmm.
so they discredited these acts because maybe they didn't want anyone to have access to this kind of knowledge.
And a lot of these people have
Be-
a lot of power and a lot of money to be
yeah,
able to change the narrative around, either through media, social media, whether they're silencing people or discrediting them by force, right?
and do you remember when um Coolio, before he died, he made some videos saying that he's gonna talk about everything he knows about child trafficking,
Hmm.
and then he died 2 weeks later. And I was like, how is it possible?
Oh, right.
I mean, I don't believe in coincidences, right? Anyone who's trying to say something dies, disappears, gets sick, something happens.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting if it was like a one-off scenario, but Jeffrey Epstein never got to testify in court.
Hmm.
He passed. He died. He killed himself. Right? Can't have that level of exposure
Yeah.
because it'll throw it under the bus. But remember, we talked about this in our aliens podcast. Governments, powerful entities, elites, they can't have you talking about those things, the occult, the demons, the powers that they may gain. They can't have you talking about those things because if they do, then they're acknowledging that there's a power greater than them.
Hmm.
And that could be scary
How
for them.
crazy are these? Yeah. I mean, these people are really crazy, Micah. That's how I
Mhm.
feel. Crazy in the medical sense. I mean, yeah, they're crazy.
it's of note that bringing negative energies into the world in exchange for power. I mean, I think that's in the Bible. It talks about like, making deals with devils for, like a gain,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
I mean,
So
that's something that happens. Now, I wanted to show you guys something. Let me grab it real quick. Hang on. Okay, so I have a copy of what's called the Infernal Dictionary. And so this is just it's just a shorthand version of it. But basically it talks about, and it has like drawings of like demons, gives a brief description, and then like how to deal with them should they
mm,
come about. Right. The
mm,
interesting part is, I mean, and this is the shorthand version. So it's not like there's a bigger version of this book. This is just a small, like, get to know the stuff. I mean, but there's demons in here, right? That you'll see referenced in movies, like payment.
really?
So,
Wow.
I mean, like, they're, I mean, they have to have some footing in real in like reality to sell the movie, but it makes you wonder, are they doing a service to those demons through Hollywood, right? So they like, maybe they're bringing service to, they're bringing, like, I mean, you give a demon power by acknowledging its existence, right?
Mhm.
Saying its name by um drawing
As
attention
far as
to it or creating
far
fear
as
about it.
yeah, as far as I've read, um, when they sell their souls, they have to do these kind of things. So they are forced somehow to say it, but not in a direct way,
Hmm.
but they have to say that they are under a demon or something like this. I don't really understand, but they have to say it somehow.
Hmm. So I mean, I only have one book on this kind of stuff, and and like I said, it's the shorthand version. I mean, I guess there's a lot bigger version of the dictionary in Infernal. Um, which I mean, I plan to get it. I thought I was actually getting it when I got this one, but you know, start here and then go in there. I'm interested to see that because like you've got like ritual tables. I mean, there are, like altars, there's, like all different things that people use
Mhm.
to interact with the occult, ghosts, otherworldly energies through portals. But I only have one book. Do you have any books or anything over in Romania? Or I mean this isn't even this isn't even from the United States, but like, do you have any books
Oh, wow,
personally?
there's thousands of books about all kinds of rituals. Um, I found in my library, I don't know how, maybe from my father or whatever, we have a big library. I found a book about salt rituals, water rituals. There were so many rituals about um, invoking energies, right? Using this salt or water or whatever it was.
Hmm.
And if you talk about books in Europe, it's thousands of them. You
Oh,
have
wow.
like witch dictionary. You have like they had how to discover witch when the dynasty of Tudors were ruling Europe or England, but I think Europe anyway. So they had these books so they could catch the witches and
Hmm.
burn them. So it's many books about it. This is why they discredited the art of witchery, but it
Hmm.
does exist. I mean, you cannot say it doesn't exist. Even the priests are doing rituals in the church. Everything they do, it's a ritual.
Everything
It's
is
a
ritual. Is it weird, right?
yeah. in the Christian churches, you have this huge chandelier, or I don't know the word in English, chandelier maybe.
Yeah.
A huge chandelier, and it's made in a special way with some special numerology involved. And I know this from a priest. And when they are doing the sermon, they are staying under this chandelier because the energy comes through it. Us, we don't know about it, so we are not going under that, but the priests are choosing that place always.
Actually,
it's where they
I've
are
seen that in
gathering.
older churches, not like the newer modern churches, which look like, modified auditoriums with, like, all the lights and lasers and stuff. But I have seen it
Yeah.
in older churches.
Yeah. But I wanted to tell you a story about a girl here in Romania, and it's very interesting. And if you ever come to Romania, I'm going to take you to that castles. We have a lot of castles here, and Dracula Castle as well. But this one is very special because, this one is very special because it's about a girl. She was called Julia, and she was the daughter of a very famous Romanian writer. When she was born, she was very smart. She wrote so many books. She knew so many languages. She could learn a lot of things very quickly. And unfortunately, she died at a very young age. Before she died, she told her father that she's gonna communicate with him from the other world and show him how to make a house or a castle, who might become a portal so they can communicate after she dies. And he did everything. So all of his money went into this castle. Oh, this fly is so amazing. Oh, annoying, but amazing. Maybe it's a ghost. So he put all of his money into this castle. So he says that he said that he communicated with her after she died. He used to make some gatherings with 10, 12 people around the table, and they were holding hands and talking to her, and she was giving instruction. You have to put a mirror in the front door, you have to do this and that. And he made the castle after her instructions. And everyone who's visiting there, they say that they can meet Julia in the castle, which is, I think, is very interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to check out that castle. But also, it's interesting. We're talking about demons, the occult, and ghosts, and a fly has been bothering you this entire podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably like, right? Anyway, I think we had a great podcast. Do you have any other topics you'd like to throw in, or any questions?
I think that if we meet this kind of energies like you do with Leo, right? It's very important to follow how we feel about it, because you feel good about it, right? He's taking care of your cat. It's a good energy. He brings a good energy. So it's very important. I think it's very important to try to see how we feel about it. And if we feel that it's a bad energy, there's many ways to fight with it these days. So, or just run.
Yeah, you could try.
Location. Yeah.
Anyway, folks, I hope you've enjoyed this podcast on not just only ghosts, the occult, rituals, and just all sorts of weird negative energies and some positive energies. We'll catch you next time. If you have any comments, leave them in the comments section below. Don't forget to check out our website in the description box, and we'll catch you in the next one.